Hey everybody, it's Wednesday, November 4th, 2009. Thanks for stopping by. Looks like things are really looking up for the Palestinian rights movement as far as public opinion is concerned. Now, it used to be that when someone would come to speak at an American university in favor of Palestinian rights, they'd be shouted down, they would be harassed by the audience. No one would come to see them. Nowadays, when the Prime Minister of Israel comes to the United States to justify what they're doing, he's being greeted by huge protests. He's being shouted down by members of the audience. And, I think that's a good thing. I think that freedom of speech is very important, and we certainly should encourage everyone to give their side of the story. But there is a limit. This guy is a war criminal. He has come here to justify war crimes, and he's being given a platform to speak and to justify crimes against humanity. Now, he could stand on a street corner and tell everybody that he wants to that those Palestinians had it coming. Those toddlers, those little children, those women, they had it coming. And it wasn't a big deal for him to tell people to drive tanks over them. But, he can't get up at a major American university and justify war crimes and act like he's the good guy. That, I think, is a little bit, it's going too far. We would not invite Nazi war criminals to speak at universities, and I don't think that we should invite Israeli war criminals to speak at universities. Now, if you want to invite someone who supports Israel, fine, come and have them speak. If you want to, if you want to invite someone who opposes Israel, have them speak. That's perfectly acceptable in my point of view. But someone who's responsible for war crimes, no, that's not acceptable. They should be shouted down. They should be protested. And you know what? That's starting to happen. Every day, we're seeing the public discourse change a little bit at a time. It's very glacial, but every day it changes. Yesterday Congress voted to condemn the Goldstone report and used false arguments against it. They made this declaration, a non-binding declaration, but the declaration was just filled with falsehoods. It was claiming that the Goldstone report was ignoring Palestinian crimes, which it didn't. It was claiming that it made no mention of the rocket attacks on Sderot and other towns. It didn't. Of course, the Goldstone report mentioned those rocket attacks. It mentioned the fact that Hamas may have committed crimes and that it should be investigated what they did. But the Goldstone report didn't go into detail on those crimes because it couldn't get any information. The Israeli government, has been claiming this whole time that it has all this evidence against Hamas, but it wouldn't give any of the evidence to Goldstone or anybody who was working with him. It totally refused to give him any evidence against Hamas, and that's the reason why they didn't speak that much about what happened, because they didn't have any information. The only information they could get came from Palestinians and from human rights organizations who were operating in Gaza. And, of course, they had a lot to say about what the Israeli army had just done there. So, that's the reason why the report is like it is. Congress, of course, nobody read the report. They came up with a declaration which plainly proves they didn't read the report and passed it. But, the interesting thing was at least two representatives, one of them, Dennis Kucinich, of course, got up and made very passionate, very stirring speeches against this declaration. And saying all the things that we now know to be true about Israel and Palestine, about this massacre in Gaza, about what the Israeli government is really doing and what it's really about. Kucinich laid it all out for everybody to hear, and it is, it's to their eternal shame that they did not care, that they didn't listen, they didn't care, it didn't mean anything to them. And the other representative got up and showed pictures of dead Palestinian toddlers and said, "These toddlers look for all the world like my 2 boys. There's no difference." And they didn't care, As soon as he tried to show the ruins of the American International School that had been bombed in Gaza, the guy banged his gavel and said, "Time's up." The guy said, "I need 30 more seconds." And the guy said, 15 seconds. So that just tells you how much the establishment is willing to listen to these things. But on the other hand, they were 2 members of Congress who got up and said these things. And that's just one small example of what's going on. I mean, it's all over the place. Mustafa Barghouti and Anna Balser were on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. And Jon Stewart is, of course, a supporter of Israel to a certain extent. But I think he's a very fair supporter. He's not one of these people who is going to go out of his way to support injustice. He just believes that, that there's a place for a Jewish state. And, that's his personal conviction, and he's been to Hebrew school, and he has that viewpoint. But on the other hand, he's perfectly willing to listen to the truth. He doesn't have a closed mind. And, he seemed really, really uncomfortable during that interview, but he made the interview. And he was very sympathetic to Mustafa Barghouti. And when there was a certain member of the audience who heckled him, he said, "You should let our guests speak. They're here to speak, so listen." And Mustafa Barghouti got huge applauses from the audience. And so, it tells me that just not just that, but just it's all over the place. It's that the truth is just breaking out. It's breaking out at the seams. Everywhere you look, it's peeping through. And it won't be long until the truth is widely known. And, you guys out there who are going around, they're starting to spread just overt hate now against all Muslims, against all Arabs, against Palestinians. They see that the dam is about to burst, and the information is just flooding out at the seams. And so, as a last-ditch effort, people are just promoting sheer unreasoning hate. And, and they're spreading lies about Islam in order to prop up that hate. And, and I see people all the time advocating genocide against Muslims. And, they're going to that mentality like, let's make Muslims into the new scapegoat minority and just hate them for no reason. And then we can keep this current establishment going. But and it's very disturbing. They start talking about throwing Muslims into volcanoes, throwing, stringing Muslims up from trees, and it's not just the adult males. When they say these things, they mean everybody. They mean even the babies. Okay, whether they realize it or not, that's what it means. And they justify this by lying about the Quran. By lying about history, by saying, they've got all these new claims out now that Islam was based on the murder of Jews. How disturbing is that? That it was founded on Jewish blood. I mean, come on. And they talk about Muhammad being a pedophile and all of this just hysterical stuff. And they even say, I even see people saying Islam equals pedophilia, right? Like if you're a Muslim, you're a pedophile. I mean, it's just amazing, but that's what they're reduced to. They're having to start putting on the hoods and burning the crosses because that's all they've got left. And guess what? Their days are numbered. Thanks for watching.